Morning, guys. Okay, just some kind of cool, right? I just did the teaching summit, and I had a bunch of people who had asked a few questions about some of the clips that the NorCal PGA and I posted on my presentation on wedge play, chipping and pitching. And obviously, it was really cool having Corey Pereira there to help out. Obviously one of the finest players I've ever coached, and just kind of an elite short game player, and almost a golf IQ kind of genius. So that was really neat to have Corey there. But I'd had some cool comments and requests on my presentation, and because we didn't post the whole thing, I mean, my presentation was an hour and 20 minutes each time. People didn't get to see the whole thing, and so I'm not going to do an hour and 20 minute one here. I'm going to do probably a 5 to 10 minute one. But I wanted to kind of give you guys like a brief overview of some of the things I covered. Before I get into that, two things. I'm going to also be collaborating with Tom Johnson and Kyle Kircher, two of my really good friends, two great young teachers and players. Tom played at Northwestern, just played in the Fortinet, played a year on the PGA Tour. In the Fortinet, he finished 30th. And, as a club pro, that's pretty amazing. And then, Kyle, beautiful swing, probably one of the most brightest guys I know on swing technique. He just loves golf, always studying the swing and being a great player. And so go follow them. Tom just did a really awesome thing on wedge play yesterday on his account. And so go check that out. He did this kind of really cool specialty shot, a low spinning shot that's kind of intentionally hit low on the toe for a little extra spin, and kind of what his release pattern is to do that. So go check that one out. I thought it was really good. And like I said, Tom and Kyle and I are going to probably be helping each other and collaborating on a few things. So go check out their accounts and follow them. They have some cool information. And what I'm going to go over today is briefly just what I covered in my presentation, which is the 4 basic shots that I like, which is a neutral, a low shot that's running, a low shot that's checking. So those are kind of shot 2, A and B, and then a high shot, and then a flop, right? And so I'm going to hit a couple of those here in a second on this T-square just to kind of show you the adjustments. And we're going to get into why I think those are the 4 basic shots. And also, hey, this is art. So I want you guys to take this information. There is no perfect on ball position and shaft lane and these things. You got to go, hey, we all have little different grips and preferences on release pattern and a fade draw player release pattern and things like that. So go kind of experiment a little bit with some of this and make it your own. Okay, so first shot. And I'm going to go off this T-square, and I am going to go off just a little low par 3 tee here, so I don't have to move the ball around at all. And so I'm going to put that there. Okay, shot 1, which is neutral. So, narrow stance, kind of the ball off your right big toe. The shaft, I like to always point left edge of my belly button or slightly forward. And then a little something I'm going to talk about today, which is this, think of your sternum like there's a flashlight coming out of it. The club is essentially doing this off the middle of you, right? So it's going to touch the ground and bottom out opposite that low point, which is the middle of you. So if you want to kind of enhance your ability to eliminate chunk, you got to have that on the front edge of the ball, right? So I'm going to put that kind of over here, just on the front edge of the ball. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to form this letter Y shape of my 2 arms in the club head, not a lot of wrist hinge in either direction, and go back and forth and towards where I want to go. Okay, so that's going to come off. That was dead straight. I righted my little net out there. There's no angles. I collected in the middle of the face. And a really important thing, you can even see there, I kind of just hit it just barely on the toe, but kind of pretty centered and about a groove or 2 low, is you want to hit this 2nd to 5th groove on the face. When you hit the 2nd to 5th groove, that's the sweet spot, essentially, right? Anything above that 5th groove, you start launching it too high and it doesn't spin. Think of your driver when you crown it. And anything you hit on the 2nd groove or below, well, you're going to top it, or it's going to be too thin. If you want to err on spin, which is why tight lies tend to spin more, and also there's no friction because the grass isn't in the way, and B, you tend to hit it lower on the face. So it tends to launch lower and spin a little bit more. So when you see Abraham Ancer and Tiger and Scotty Scheffler and these guys on these videos spinning the ball a bunch, they have a tour ball, they have perfect lies, perfect greens, and they're launching it down on that little groove, kind of sweet spot there, that 2nd to 5th groove. Okay, so that's release pattern number 1, or neutral, and I just call it Y to Y. I call it my Steve Stricker shot. I use that probably 80 to 85% of my short game shots. There's no angles, touches the ground clean, the loft is constant, and you use the bounce as it's designed on the sole. So start there. Okay, shot 2. I'm going to have 2 different versions of this, one that rolls and one that spins more. So the one that rolls. Well, now I go back off my pinky toe almost, so I'm almost behind my foot. We'll even exaggerate just a touch for today. I still lean this at the left edge of my belly button. Now I've taken down loft. Now my flashlight's way up here. I'm going to bottom out much later. but I've created more angle to hit down with, so I have less loft. And then on the running one, I also have a sensation of a little bit of a topspin forehand or draw release where my left hand either bows down, or for you right hand dominant field players, you feel like you topspin or overhand spin it with your right hand. So I'll go further back, I'll lean it more, and then I'll feel a low draw. That's gonna come out lower. You can see over here, I've got my left wrist bowed down, and I gave this little draw sensation in my wrist conditions as I went through the ball. You know, something if you want to make sure you spin it, you better have those grooves clean, and you better have a tour ball, and I got neither of those today. So, you know, make sure whenever you're playing, I want no dirt in those grooves. Whenever I play my tournaments, man, or even for fun, my grooves are immaculate from back when I was playing tour golf. I don't want any reason that I'm not doing that. Okay, the spinning one. The parameters are similar. The ball's further back, still have all these angles. And then instead of the draw sensation, it's going to be more of a Phil Mickelson hinge and hold type of feel where I keep these angles. And then for spin, we need friction, right? Make a striking a match. So I'm going to take it a little shorter and a little bit more body speed while I hold those angles. You know, I don't want to step on the stick. That kind of looks weird. So I'll just kind of go behind. We'll just do that instead. Okay, lean and a little more hinge and hold. And when I get here, you'll see that these angles stayed more constant. And then I don't know if that'll really stand out there, but that feels a little shorter and a little more assertive through the ball to get more of that friction to create spin. Again, big key there would be what? Well, you gotta have really good lies, you gotta have clean grooves, you gotta have a tour ball, and you gotta have greens that are receptive to that. Okay, last one. Now, high. Now, I normally would just use my neutral and open the face. Right? So I just use my wide striker shot and open the face. But if you have clean lies and you can slide the bounce underneath, you can go ball a little bit more forward, and now I feel like my sternum's right on the ball. On my exit, I'm going to feel this gentle sensation that the club head passes the grip underneath like this, like a little light scoop. And what you'll notice on all these is watch my finish. That's where you'll see the change, right? So, okay, I'm going to go ball a little bit more forward. Shaft very straight up and down or almost even backwards, and I'm going to feel this gravity drop sensation and scooping. Good. I even got away with that a little bit. Super hit behind that one. Because I use so much bounce and the ground's wet, I just slid up into the ball. I actually hit like a pretty good shot. That probably would only be about 4 to 6 feet short to my target, even though I mishit it. I don't love that shot on grainy tight lies. I tend to do that a little bit too much. Where I tend to bottom out because my flashlight's further back. But it does hit a nice high soft shot, and it's not really stopping with spin, it's more stopping with trajectory, so it's really dead, kind of sack of potatoes. It just hits and it dies. So that's my 3 shot, and then 4 shot would be lob. I'm not going to hit one of those, you know, super wide stance, super low handle. You're going to slip the club under the ball. You know, with the handle low, you're effectively kind of closing the face a little bit, or pointing it, let me describe that different. You're putting the angle of the face more at the club because you're what? You're making the club effectively more upright. But that allows you to slip the club under the ball, and then it's definitely that sensation on the way down of this underhand scoop spank, right? Where you're allowing the club head to pass the handle. It really feels like that to me when I'm hitting those good, almost like a high soft bunker shot. Right? And that's going to come out super high, and depending on the lie, spin might be variable whether you're in the rough or the fairway. So those are the 4 basic shots I covered. There's more to it. If you got questions, DM me, come see me for a lesson. And then please make sure and follow Tom and Kyle. We're all going to be putting out some kind of cool content coming up. And anyway, take that stuff, go make it your own. And remember, this is art, so you got to go do a lot of it, and don't be afraid to experiment. Hope that helps.